So this is for the career building side of my online life coaching course, and I want to talk about how important CVs are now and creating a CV. So the first thing you need to do is decide what it is you want to do. So I don't know, this is for any age, teenagers to the age I'm at now, 40, in my 40s. And because obviously we've been in lockdown and COVID, obviously a lot of businesses are struggling, which could mean that, you know, we may end up having a lot more people again unemployed. And, you know, the worry is there enough jobs to go around to re-employ those people? Now, we're in a place where there's that uncertainty where we're not sure which way it's going to go. And if you've been furloughed, that means you've been paid for the hours you've not been able to do, but you're still generating an income. But then, you know, now we go back out of lockdown, and a lot of businesses will now have to do catch up, you know, try and rebuild the money that they've lost. And that's why, you know, it's always good that if you are a business owner, to think about, if you're not online yet, making yourself online, because that could actually save your skin in doing so. But if you've not long come out of a job, for whatever circumstances it is, your confidence may be knocked in a way, especially if you've been made redundant, or it was your very first job and it didn't work out. What should you do? And could you learn from the mistakes? Yes, you can. When I should be an iPhone on hours. The very first job I ever had was after I left school. I worked as a caretaker, I worked as a steward. My brain's not switched on. I think it's still trying to catch up. I started to work as a steward, and I am somebody who is like, okay, well, they're the rules, and that's what I need to follow. So I did. And it did ground me, because it's good to start to earn your own money. And when you start to earn your own money, it can give you such a great feeling that now you're responsible for you, and now your money's your own, and so I'm going to look after it. And working for me beat school right out of the hat, because I learned more through working than I did through school. And I did a video talking about, does experience, is experience more important than qualifications? So if you want to check out that video, it should be in my life coaching playlist on YouTube, and I have featured it. I've featured it in this course. I will have a look to see if I have. But check out YouTube and you'll find it. And when it comes to a CV, a lot of companies now don't rely on them as such now, because they want to know, are you the person for that job in one way, and you can actually sell yourself within a covering letter, or if you've not been on LinkedIn, go on LinkedIn, because that can really lots of employers are using that platform now to find people. So if you don't have a LinkedIn account, do so, and go through the things, your skills. I want to know what you can do, basically. What is your biggest asset that you can give to somebody? If there's a particular role that you want to go for in terms of employment and career. And yeah, the other question is, do you just want a job just for the time being to do more to build towards a actual career, or do you want to start your career from the moment you leave school? And that's a question you can ask yourself. And I never did a degree, I never did a diploma. I did a GNVQ in leisure and tourism. Now, did I make the right choice? In my mind, no. I have always been someone who wanted to do something that was different from what was destined for me. I lived in a housing estate, and not many kids made it, in a different world. We were set to be cleaners or, secretaries, but we weren't destined to, do something out of that sector. And I always knew that I wanted to do something different. And I've always been into dancing, singing, even before I fell in love with football. And I became a qualified football coach. I worked at Fulham Football Club as a steward. But I always knew that I wanted to perform, and so that's why I went to Butlins. And I would, sing in pubs. I know karaoke, but and I always knew that was the thing I wanted to do, but I didn't have no idea how I would break into that. So for ages I didn't pursue it anymore. I had the opportunity to sing at the Lyric Theatre, because as I was temping for a little bit after I did full-time permanent employment, I was doing a drama and a singing course at the Hammersmith and Fulham Borough community colleges, which are now in lots of the schools that no longer schools but became adult community centres for people to learn skills. And I did a singing class and I did a drama class, and this as I was about to have the opportunity to sing at the Lyric Theatre in Hammersmith, I get offered the job to work at Butlins. Now, did I make the right choice to go to Butlins, or should I have sung at the Lyric Theatre? And my answer to that is no, because I knew that working at a holiday camp would suit me. I knew that as a kid, that's where my first holidays were, at a holiday camp, and knowing what they had to offer and knowing how fun it was and what other opportunities that could come my way, I knew that that's what I wanted to do, and I gave myself 2 years and I've done it. When it comes to a CV, the first thing you want to do is let them know who you are. So always put your name, and don't use small font to highlight your name. Make it bigger. You want people to know your name and who you are. And then you want to put about how they can contact you, so you address your telephone number. And if you've got a landline, put it down. If you've got mobile, put that down. Now, they often will tend to ring you on your landline, because I used to find it very awkward in ringing up people's mobile phones than I did ringing up people via their landline. So, give both, and also give your email address. If you write a blog or anything and you want to share it and put it on your CV, you can put that too, because they can then see through that you are someone who likes to do things different to other people, which could then be an asset to them as an employee. And then you want to do is highlight all your skills, so everything that you've learned so far, including your qualifications. But they want to see you, as well as put your qualifications, of if you can actually do the things that you studied for. And a lot of students who go on to do degrees and diplomas don't always necessarily fall into that field. they will actually do something completely different. And I had a friend who was doing European studies, and she wanted to go straight into the job she was studying for. But the thing is, sometimes you just have to get yourself in employment, because I want to see if you are employable. So if you are, a student, and you want to, and you are worried about money because of student loans, then it's important for you to just get a side job that helps you earn money, and then you start learning about the working life, whether it's working in a restaurant, stewarding like I did. I even had a chance to do 2 weeks of like a work experience, sort of pharmacy at a leisure centre in central London. But because I had to get up so early in the morning, and I knew that I'd have struggles trying to get there at that time, I didn't pursue it, and I said, no, it's not for me. And she said, that's fine, I just wanted you to come here to see what it's like and see if you liked it. And I thought it was brilliant. And I do think that employers should do that. Now there are some places that you need to avoid, I did a little bit of cleaning for at a school, for a cleaning agency, and it was quite a big school, and there was only 4 of us cleaning that school. Now, is that slave labour? Yes, it is, because you're doing more than what you're getting paid for, and the hours that you were doing it in, it was impossible to actually finish doing that job. And I was minded up because I was taking ages to hoover a classroom. But then my argument was, well, don't you want me to, hoover it properly? Do you want me to leave things on the floor? Because sometimes, if you work in schools, the classrooms are not how they were when they first went into that classroom. They're now a mess. So how can you expect, 4 people to clean the entire school and I only have 4 hours to do it within, And that is slave labour, and you have to be careful of that. But the good sectors to work in is sport. I even, like I say, worked with the groundsman for a while, but also, off junior roles are not bad. But again, I was very much underpaid because, the work I was doing, the hours I was doing, wasn't really reflected. Now, is that important to me? Yes, it is now. Looking at it now, and then, yes, because now, them types of jobs, you're doing it, they are asking for you to have some kind of qualification. Now, my GVQ did kind of help me, but a lot of people didn't even know what it was when I started to look for work. They would ask me, what's a GVQ, They didn't even know what it was. So, if you are going to think about going to college first and university, think about what you really want to get out of it and what skills you want to get out of it. But also do think about getting to work on the side, because it can really work in your favour, because a lot of employers, and especially now, will go on your experience rather than what you've studied. Because if you've studied something, that's because you've learnt about that topic, that subject. But if you've never worked in that topic or subject before, then how do they know that you're actually good at doing that job or career that you've worked for? The only way they know what type of employee you are is by you working. So, another thing I was saying, if you just at school, is work on building your CV up with as much experience as possible, and always put that at the top as second to your name and address, telephone number, email, and if you've got a website. I'm back, sorry about that. I was getting a little bit phlegmy. I always get it this time here. Okay. So when you do CV, always highlight your skills and your qualifications that you've done in as your sort of your first, and do bullet points. They don't want an essay. They just want to see in that, because most employers only read the first 3 sections of a CV. So keep it short. Don't do any more than 2 pages. And always put your name, your address, your telephone numbers, email address, website. And showing a website also can show that you can create things on your own without supervision, and that's you've created that yourself. But they only if someone knows skills and experience, what can you offer to them? That and what is a good way of find jobs first and match your skills to that job, because they will give employers do make the effort now in giving a job specification or job description. So a specification is that they have a specific requirement from you, and a description is basically telling you what you're going to be doing within that role. So you need to say, so if it says specification, I want somebody who has experience in cleaning windows. So you'll look at your skills and say, right, what matches that specification? Have I done any cleaning in my current work? If you're working as a waitress, yes, because being a waitress, you do have to clean and tidy. Are you a people pleaser? Are you someone that can deal with difficult customers, for example? If they're asking that they need someone who's a people person that can take on many inquiries from customers, then you put down, yes, I'm a waitress, I'm a waiter at Nando's, and I serve customers every day, making sure they have a wonderful experience when they're at the restaurant, and make sure that their experience is just as good from the beginning they come into the restaurant to when they leave. That's it, done. Job description is saying you need to this is what you need to do. So as a window cleaner, you need to provide your own bucket and window cleaning tools. You need to work in several locations. You will have, now if they say full training, sometimes that's good, but always look at the job description, and if they say the pay, look at the pay and look at the job description. Now sometimes you do have to do what is now daily jobs, before you do your career, and that's fine as long as it's worth it and you don't feel like you're going to be used as someone that's just making up a number rather than being a valuable employee. So so what you need to do in your CV then is go through. So first of all, after you've done your skills experience, you need to put what you're currently doing, so the experience that you're doing at the minute, what job you're doing at the minute, that can match their specification and the job description. And then you want to go through other employees, and you don't have to go back that far. It used to be that you would have to go back like 10 years. Now they shortened it. You don't have to do any more than 5 years, because an employer will just want to know, are you good for that job? Have you got the experience to cover that job? Are you someone that goes the extra mile that they're probably looking for, especially working customer service? Do you find it difficult when having to talk to difficult customers? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Now, the one word I don't like it when I see employers put is multitasking, because that's what can cause stress and anxiety in the workplace. We are not put on this planet to do 25 jobs at once. In fact, we are put on this planet to do one job at a time. So, you know, and so like this, I wanted to do this video, and I said, right, I'm doing this video, and I'm going to do it now. When you work in a job, you have to focus on what you're doing at that moment. And if you've got 25 things on your list, how are you supposed, and you've only got, what, 4, if you're part-time, 4 hours to do it? That is impossible. So, I mean, go for the jobs you want to, but I would avoid them. Because if they are paying you less to do that work, then you are, there's a chance that you could be mistreated in an organisation. But always check it, always check the specification, always check the pay, the location. When you first work, you may have to travel. I did in London, but that used to cause me anger before I went to work. And the last thing you want to do is have an argument on the train, knowing you've got 7 hours of difficult customers to deal with, you know. So make your life as easy as possible, but don't be fussy about the jobs as such, but just be vigilant and on guard. And write down what would be your ideal first job that you want. Is it to work to just get your foot in the door of what you're studying for, or is it something completely different? You just want to earn a bit of money, a bit of experience, so you can put that on your CV that you have done a bit of work, and this is what you have to offer. But always, also find jobs that interest you, and then see what skills you have that matches that job. If you don't have those skills yet, it doesn't mean you don't have to, that you shouldn't go for that job. You should, just to see if you do still get an interview, because a lot of the time they have that experience. But if they see somebody that's got quite a good personality within that CV, they may still want to interview you, you know. And it's about turning employers' heads, you know. Now, I came across Grant Cardone when I was looking for tips on CV, because when I got made redundant, a contact centre I was working for, because they moved the offices to Poland, I took for granted how long it was going to take me to find a job. And at the time I was pregnant, and I was very fearful whether I should mention it or not, but you don't have to. Should you? It's up to employer really in such, but they're not really supposed to challenge you on it. They can't hold that accountable to you, because it's discrimination. But I took for granted how long. I thought with my skills and experience, with the years I've worked, that I would instantly be able to get another job. Well, how long was I? I think it was bad timing, because other people were getting made redundant at the same time. It's when we were going for another recession, and lots of companies were falling, you know, day by day. There seemed to be a different report daily of companies going into administration or having to let employees go. And it was timing. And so, you know, if you're not getting a response from employers, you know, it could be to do with timing, but it doesn't mean that you should stop. I went for one way of apply for a job each day. So even if there wasn't loads of jobs, if there was just that one job that suited, that I thought I could do and suited me, and I thought I would suit them, then I would still go for it. But you know, it is a case of sometimes, you know, if a load of people are unemployed, you know, how many people will be applying for that job? And it could be about 25,000, for example, and that's no exaggeration. You know, when people are desperate to get into work, you know, there'll be loads of people going for that position. So how do you stand out? By showing your cards, you know, showing what you have to offer that's different, and go through it, you know. Not as you compare yourself, but to say, well, you know, what kind of person are they looking for? Do I match that criteria? If so, really highlight what you have to give, because what they also in the CV is saying that you should add a profile at the top. Now, it depends on the employer again. I have and you will sometimes need to change it to what they're looking for. So for example, I would say that if I was going for another customer service role, I'm a qualified customer service agent, which I am because I did a MVQ whilst at work, and they're good. If you don't want to do a degree diploma, there are apprenticeships that you can do, which is a really good thing to do. I wish I tried that, but it was too late in the end. But they're really good. Or you can do studying within employment. Sometimes they will offer that, and they did when I worked at Butlins, and they did when I worked for a contact centre, and that's how I did my MVQ level 2 in customer service. And so I would put, I'm a qualified and excellent customer service agent with wonderful communication skills. I know how to take on many calls, incoming and outgoing, and I have experience in processing people's information and working on many different software programs. Now, again, you may need to change that depending on the job that you're going for, because obviously they're not going to, if you're going for a cleaning job, they're not going to be interested that you can work with the computer, because they want to know if you can clean, you know. So it all depends on the job, but you can still match your profile to it by saying that I've been working for 12 years, and those roles have included cleaning and organising my workspace, and I know how to, you know, it all depends on your experience, but always, you know, when you do a CV, show your personality within that CV by showing that you get on with many people, that you do enjoy working as a team, you know, and anything that they've highlighted. And you can always tell when they are asking for a specific type of person by the way they put the text. So if they say really keen on someone who is self-motivating, for example, you know, we're interested in somebody who is a go-getter, you know, and so that's the kind of language. If you see that, that's what they're saying, and that's what they want. That's what they want to see for a go-getter, that you will, you know, give 100% within that job, you know, and that's what you can tell by the language. So, but always put your personality in the CV if they ask for a CV. If they don't ask for a CV, then you don't have to worry about it. They may ask for you to fill in an application form, and if you fill in an application form, then you don't have to worry. Often they don't want to see a CV because they want to know in an application form if you're good at the job. Now, there's a way of knowing how much information you need to give in the application form by the size of the box in each thing they're asking for. So if the box is about that big and they're asking for just a brief description of your current role, then that's what you do. You just fill in that space and just put in basically keywords, key things that will make you stand out, that they could possibly, oh right, so she has worked in cleaning, brilliant, and she's used many chemicals, brilliant, and she's done cross training, yes. It doesn't have to be so descriptive, but brief in the fact that within that small box you've just put in 1 or 2 sentences of that you are a possibility for that job, you know. So if the box is that big, you just give that amount of information. If it's a whole like a page and they've got a section like that, they want you to give more description of yourself and like use examples, then you'll have one about that, and they will say if you need to use any write another page, then you can use a blank piece of paper, and that's saying that that's your opportunity to really sell yourself and to give as much details about who you are, what you're capable of, what you've done in your life that stands out, and that is your platform to really sell yourself. So do so, and you know, read the top line, what they're actually asking you to provide, and go by that example. And what I would say is, when it comes to filling that in, write it in a notebook first, and then put it in the application form, and that is the best way of doing it and seeing how, you know, what they're asking for within a job role. So you don't always have to provide a CV now. Always check the employer and they will tell you. So that is helpful to you, and I wish you the best of luck.